Joshua Snyder, Joshua Snyder, Joshua Snyder, Joshua
All right, time for another episode of the Josh Cast. I've been trying to record this episode now. This is, I think, my fourth or fifth attempt at it. It's becoming that there's that one car in Gone in 60 Seconds that Nicolas Cage, he played a car thief. It was the one car he could never quite steal without getting into trouble. The Dodge something. It was a Dodge, I'm pretty sure. Wasn't a Honda Civic. I don't know why that is. Because why isn't the Honda Civic more coveted by Nicolas Cage car thieves? I'm sorry, car thieves, not thieves. I totally forgot myself there in that moment. But the two topics I want to cover are my sexuality and the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which on the surface don't have a lot in common. And also, if you dig deeper and you go underneath both of those, they still don't have a lot in common. So let's start with my sexuality. I am mostly attracted to women. I have found sometimes I'm attracted to men. And I'm terrified that that's going to be appealing to neither sex. So that's where I'm at right now. I've never been with a man. I have been with a woman once. So I recognize that a lot of what I'm talking about is theoretical. We need to get someone to build the particle accelerator to see if any of what I'm actually saying is true in the real world. I do look at both straight and gay porn. That is true. I have come to the conclusion then, because that is not a phase. I've been doing that. I've been doing that for years. Coming to the conclusion that this is not a phase, but this is a part of who I am, and it means I am bisexual. Or I am not completely heterosexual. Or on the Kinsey scale of, I think, 0 being heterosexual, 5 being homosexual, I'm a 2, I don't know, a 1. And I hate that I need a label for it. Can't I just be a human being? It reminds me of the song we sang in elementary school choir. We're all one people under the sun, different and unique, each and every one. So that's what I am, different and unique. Attracted to women Monday through Friday, attracted to men Saturday, Sunday. That's what I am. I, to this day, feel ashamed of it. Why? Because things I heard growing up have stuck with me. The notion, this is what I've heard, well, there's no such thing as bisexuality. A person who's bisexual is just, really, they're gay, they just don't want to completely come out and admit it. That was a common belief that was held by people who were not bisexual. I remember people would tell me that. And why would they do that? How is anyone an expert in sexuality? Even if they've had a ton of sex. You can be an expert in your own sexuality, but you don't know what's going on inside someone else's head. sexuality is a complex thing. I was about to say it's a harsh mistress, which it can be. And yet, it's very simple. I'm sitting here, doing mental gymnastics over this, and it's very simple. I'm attracted to women, and sometimes, boop, I'm attracted to that guy. I ask my sexuality, why? And my sexuality goes, I don't know. I'm not the thinker here. My job is not to be analytical. My job is to go bing, and that's what I'm doing. I'm binging. I mean, why don't you go ask the duodenum for a second opinion? This is an aspect about myself that I have hated, because I don't feel like I fit in anywhere, and only recently have I started reading or hearing other people talk about this. And this is one thing I really envy about the generation that's coming up now, because the notion of gender fluidity is becoming much more mainstream now. And I foresee, or at least I certainly hope, that today's teenagers, when they're entering the world, are entering a world that says you don't need to worry about labels, and you can be yourself and do what you like, as long as you're not breaking the law, or as long as everything is consensual and everyone is of age, and that there should be no shame involved with it. So that's the first thing I want to kind of talk to you about. I'm bisexual. That's the term I believe I have to go with. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like the term for me, because I'm not, it's still a majority women situation. So it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like I'm equally in the middle. Bisexual would make more sense to me to call myself that if I was equally in the middle. But both are there. And I think me not liking the term bisexual, in a way, is me not being able to accept it. So I am going to accept it now and say I am bisexual. Which brings me to the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So they think that the T-Rex may have had feathers over some or all of its body. And so there's a bunch of renderings now of what they think that might have looked like. And I saw one rendering that made me very upset, because I want my T-Rex to look like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. I guess I like my T-Rexes bald. I guess. No feathers. I want them to Bruce Willis the hell out of a T-Rex when I see a T-Rex in a movie. Because in a way, I would argue that the T-Rex in Jurassic Park, it was the John McClane of the story. Or actually, technically it was a female T-Rex in the first Jurassic Park. So it would, I guess, the G.I. Jane of the story. There you go. But I saw a particular rendering of a T-Rex with feathers over the entire body. And at first, the first impulse I went to, the first joke I wrote about it, was that a T-Rex with feathers doesn't look like a T-Rex at all. A T-Rex with feathers looks like a T-Rex that's playing a T-Rex in a musical about a T-Rex. And I'm not a fan of that, which was not the funniest joke anyway, but I'm not a fan of it because it's just, I feel like it's going for the gay joke. And I don't feel good about that. I don't want that joke to hurt someone's feelings out there. So I'm not going, so should I even say it in the podcast? Yeah, maybe I should. To say that I'm not going to be doing that anymore. But I'm also going to confess to you that there's like, I don't think it's hugely offensive. But I don't want to take the risk. And there's still a part of me that thinks it's kind of funny and wants to share that. That's the problem. The war between the part of me that's like, I think that might hold up as a joke. And the other part of me that's like, yeah, but what are you saying with it? And ultimately, it's me deciding that I don't want to say that. I don't want to be that person. I don't want, gay or effeminate to be a punchline anymore. And the fact that I thought it was a punchline, or the fact that it tickled me. But on the other hand, to play devil's advocate though, I think the feathering on the T-Rex in the particular rendering that I saw, it did make it look almost like it was, wearing a boa. And it looked like an elaborate, it looked like something you'd see in a musical. I don't know how else to say it. So I did not mean for it to be a slam against anyone gay. And then I start to feel guilt about, well, I shouldn't be, even making these jokes as a straight person. And then I remind myself, but you're not even straight. So this is what goes on in my head. Just thought I'd share. Just thought I would share. I looked at I looked at other pictures of the T-Rex with the feathers, and no rendering does it. I will say though that in some of the renderings, in some ways, it actually looks creepier than it would if the T-Rex didn't have feathers at all. And those renderings, I think the reason why it looks creepier is because it does look like, a bird, like a crow almost, like a giant, it looks like a giant finch or a giant songbird. So it's like visually, I'm getting two different signals. I'm getting, wait, is this going to attack me or is this going to warble? Or is it going to do both? Which somehow makes it even scarier. A little bit unpredictable. We don't know what this thing's going to do. Is it going to land on my shoulder and hum a tune, or is it going to bite off the shoulder? Or do both. In any particular order. It is really not my intention. I hope I didn't offend anybody with any of this. And if I did, I apologize. Because that's not what I want to, it's not who I want to be. I will still maintain, the thing I can't let go of, in spite of all of this, is I can't stand that thing with feathers. It almost, you know what else it kind of looks? It kind of looks like Big Bird from the Muppets, a little bit. Like if Big Bird turned into the Incredible Hulk. If Big Bird hulked out, that's what the T-Rex with feathers looks like. He's sitting there with Snuffleupagus, and they're talking about the letter A. or, the importance of loving each other. And suddenly just Big Bird transforms. And Snuffleupagus is like, what? I don't know what happened. He turned into a Tyrannosaurus Rex right in front of my eyes. That's what happened. And he just went on a rampage. I mean, he ripped into Elmo. He really did. And it was horrific. It was truly horrific that he ripped into Elmo. Oscar the Grouch survived the situation, and I'll confess to you, this is coming right from the lips of Snuffleupagus, I'm glad we still got Oscar the Grouch. If I had to choose between the two, I'm glad he went for Elmo and not Oscar the Grouch. I can't stand Elmo. I know I'm supposed to love Elmo, and on a deeper emotional level, I do love Elmo, but I cannot stand dealing with Elmo on a... You're only seeing Elmo when he's helping a kid, spell the word cat. You don't have to deal with Elmo on the off hours. He puts on that cute, persona when the cameras are rolling, but when the cameras are not rolling, no one is more passive aggressive than this. What is he? I don't even know what he is. Big Bird, at least we know he's a bird. Elmo's going to be fine, though. I'm good. And listen, I'm not wishing him ill. It's not what I'm saying. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, I have more of a connection. I can talk to Oscar for an hour. I can listen to him go off on politics. He did a whole rant on Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, and it was hilarious. He's more fun to hang out with than Elmo. Elmo, again, when he not much of a conversationalist. Asks a lot of stupid questions. Why do you have hair if you're an elephant? Why do you have a last name? I mean, it's like talking to a 4-year-old. Again, I know we cater to 4-year-olds. 4-year-olds are important. We love 4-year-olds. I don't mean it in that way. Look, this isn't even an interview. Why am I apologizing to you? Who are you? What are you even doing here? I'm just telling you what happened. Big Bird turned into a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex, still with feathers. Went on a rampage. Sesame Street is just decimated at this point. There's another rendering of a T-Rex with feathers. I've moved on from what I'm going to go ahead and call a sketch. I don't know what you're going to call it. There's another rendering of a T-Rex with feathers, and it looks like the T-Rex is balding. It looks like it kind of almost reminds me of if Toby from The West Wing was suddenly transformed into a T-Rex. Like if you put on a pair of glasses and the T-Rex walks into a room and says, I don't think we can win this election if you're going to do that, Mr. President. I'm sorry, did that giant T-Rex just talk? It's me, it's Toby. I've been turned into a T-Rex. But that's not the point. We can't let the fact that I've turned into a T-Rex get in the way of this election. People, we've got to focus. Toby, you just stepped on the table. We can get another table. We are not going to win this election unless you do exactly what I'm telling you to do. The other thing, we need to fire all the raptors on the staff. Toby, there aren't any raptors on the staff. There are raptors on the staff. I can smell a raptor from a mile away. JoshCast is sponsored by Honest Vegan Cookies. Tired of trying vegan cookies that promise to taste like regular cookies and then being horribly, horribly disappointed? Well, with Tim's Honest Cookies, we don't even try. We've just basically taken kale, put it in balls, and then put those balls in packaging. And basically all it is kale, but we're going to call it a cookie. But we're not going to lie and say that it tastes great. Tim's vegan cookies. Of course it's terrible. It's vegan.